You jumped on really quickly. That's fantastic. So we're going to wait here for a little bit. I just wanted to make sure I don't have any technical glitches, which cross my fingers. First time it's working perfectly. And of course, we're all switching to Zoom after today, or most of us are switching to Zoom. So this will change. So say hello so I know you're here. I can see some of you stopping by, so just say hello so I know who's here. And I would grab a block today, have a block handy, and a block, and maybe have a blanket on your mat. We should be good to go. Hey Liz, good to see you. I like using a little essential oil if you have some. Go ahead and grab some, maybe light a candle, light some incense, just clear the area of any stagnation, maybe open a window. It's a beautiful evening here in the Bay Area. So making sure you have some nice fresh air if that's available to you, or essential oil candles. Just sit tight and we'll get started here shortly, okay? Let's see, while we're waiting, what can I share with you? If you are part of the Breathe community and you get their emails, you get Jennifer's email, they announced today that we are moving to Zoom and we'll have paid classes that will be taking place starting on Wednesday. And I think they'll be sending out the schedule tomorrow with all of the meeting links, and we're doing that through Zoom so we can keep it password protected and make sure that people who are coming are supposed to be there. And I will be offering my own classes, just a community class on my own. Probably keep this class on Monday nights just because it's a night that I know I've had this class for many years at this time slot, and I'm just going to keep it and make it donation based, and I'll send out a note on that. I'll put it on my website. Which will start a week from today. So starting a week from today, I'll move to a Zoom platform as well, my own Zoom page, and you guys can take my classes there. And I also have a workshop on Sunday, Yoga and the Polyvagal Theory. It's a 3-hour workshop at 1:30. It's going to be online, and I think the timing of it is appropriate because we'll be talking about how we can use the polyvagal theory to promote nervous system regulation. And I'll explain if you're not familiar with what the polyvagal theory is. So it's not so mysterious anymore. I will explain that on Sunday. I'll explain all about it, what it is and why we should care and why we should use it. So we're going to wait here just a few more minutes. So a few more minutes. We'll wait. If you guys have any questions, you can type them in the box. I wonder how everybody's doing. I hope everybody is being safe. I think most people are probably on here from California, and I know that things are looking better for us with this COVID. And I guess there's going to be a big announcement tomorrow talking about if they're going to ease the limitations on the the mandate to stay home, or maybe we'll have a little more information about when life might get back to normal. So I'm excited about that. In some ways, I feel like maybe we've turned the corner a little bit. So that's exciting for me. And hopefully for you. And hopefully you're all well. You're all taking care of yourself. You're feeling good. You're doing lots of self-care. You're doing lots of movement. I've been taking advantage of doing some of the movement classes at Breathe, the yoga, and Qigong, and then doing tremoring as well. And then, of course, meditating and uploading free stuff. So I uploaded a couple more videos last week. I'll be uploading a couple more this week. So I'm going to continue to do that. So you have some free stuff to access while you're home, and then for moving forward as well. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, so it's a great opportunity. So those are the things that I have coming up. And then I have a really cool thing. We'll wait till after Polyvagal, and I'll talk more about that next week or in the coming weeks. What I have coming up in June. I have to wait and see if that's going to be online or if it's going to be something that we're able to do in the studio. So we'll talk about that as the time approaches. And if you're not on my newsletter, go to my website, sign up for my newsletter so you can get the latest information. And I write articles, and I have lots of stuff that you guys might be interested in, lots of free information that I'm always excited to share with you. So I'm going to go back here and just make sure that everything is working. I have my mic back here. And if you guys cannot hear me, then make sure that someone says it in the comments, because I would have no way of knowing if you're not able to hear me or not. And then while we're waiting, just for these last 2 minutes till 6 o'clock starts, we can just sit for a bit, just to allow ourselves to prepare our bodies to practice. I've been finding it's taking me a little bit longer. I don't know how it's working for you guys, but it's been taking me a little bit longer to settle things down in my body than it typically does, just because of the collective stress that we're all under, and this overwhelming grief that some of us are feeling, and fear, and all the other natural emotions that are associated with what we're all going through. So maybe just we'll sit here. Those of you that are here early, you get a little benefit, a little extra sit. So if you don't mind sitting on something, if you have it available, and then just sit up nice and tall and bring your gaze down and notice your breath. And we'll just sit, and then I'll continue. I'll guide us a little bit further once we have another minute to go here. And soften any tension. Just begin to release any tension. And notice if your body just really wants to take a nice organic inhale as we begin to bring the awareness in. That's a very common physical reaction. So just noticing, just observing, not getting too caught up in anything. Okay, so we'll go ahead and officially get started. So sitting up nice and tall, you can bring your gaze down and allow your spine to be nice and tall, if that's possible, if that's comfortable for you. And then let the lower part of your body get really heavy. So just beginning to bring the awareness down, the energy down. And then I like just maybe just rocking from side to side, just so we can move a little bit and feel what it feels like to move. Just getting a little movement, just going from side to side. And then keeping the spine nice and long, moving forward and back. When my classes start on Wednesday, and Wednesday I will have a yoga and TRE. It's at 10:30, I believe, in the morning. But the classes are going to be 1 hour and 15, so they're going to be longer. And what I have found, So doing this a little more is that, and I find this with myself, it's hard to stay focused on when I'm taking a class online. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have a 45-minute, because that's like my attention span for an online class. But what I found is that, I've been taking classes that are a little bit longer, just continue moving from side to side and forward and back, that it's easy to shortchange yourself and get distracted and start picking up your phone or looking at other things on your computer. And some of us naturally have distractions in our house, and so it's a little bit trickier to carve out the space. But if you're able to carve out the space, do so, and don't cheat. Don't stop your practice earlier. Finish it. Finish the practice if you're able to. Really important to be able to finish things. And because there is a reason why we have a beginning, a middle, and an end of a practice. The end of the practice just allows the integration to occur, even if we're just resting in Shavasana. So it's super important to allow yourself to finish. Now, if you need to finish earlier, then take a few moments to move into your final rest so that you're able to allow the body to integrate versus just jumping up and moving on with your day. So bring your hands behind you and extend the legs forward. Let's just get a little movement and circulation in the back of the legs. So let's point and flex the feet. And this is also good because it helps bring the awareness down the body, brings the awareness down into the feet. And as much as possible, when we want to ground and we want to bring the energy down in the body, doing work around the feet is really useful. And then release that effort. Let's bend the knees generously and begin to circle the feet. And then change the direction so you're going the other way. Good. So today we're actually going to start on our back. So let's come down onto the floor. And I like to have, for this practice that we're going to be doing, a blanket on my mat. You could do this on a blanket, but I think having a mat is better because we'll need the sticky mat to do the tremoring in a little bit. And then if you have a block nearby, go ahead and grab a block. If you don't worry about it. I try to make the class as accessible as possible without props, so no worries if you don't. Let's have the knees bent this afternoon, and the arms, we can just have them down by your side. So knees and feet are hips distance apart. And as you inhale, press into the balls of the feet and lift your heart up. So I'm creating space under my back. It's a bit of a back bend. And then press into your heels and flatten the spine. And you're going to move with the breath. Inhale, lift your heart up. And then exhale, press into your heels as you flatten. Moving with your breath. Now, I like to remind people, if you have a compromised low back or you're feeling twinging in any of the discs, you probably want to take this a little bit easier. And you also will hold the belly in slightly, even on the lifting of the heart. That's going to support the back. So we're constantly, as we're moving with a lot of awareness and taking care of ourselves along the way. So listening to any sensations that are presented. And if we don't know what the sensations are trying to tell us, sitting with it for a little bit longer, because the sensations will shift and change until they get your attention, especially if it's something that is going to, cause injury. So we want to make sure we're noticing. Just getting lots of opening in the spine, because this practice that we do with this energy that we're moving and shifting and releasing, we want to have the spine open as much as possible, because the energy does, even though we feel it a lot in the legs, it does move up the spine for a lot of us. Even if we don't really feel it, it does go there. It usually presents as tingling. For some people, they actually get tremoring in other parts of the body. And then release that effort. And let's walk the feet out to the side edges of the mat. Bring our arms straight out to the side, like you're making a capital letter T. Arms are in line with the shoulders. We'll all inhale together. On the exhale, press the feet into the floor as you lower the legs over to the right, and then reach away with your left hand.
so that the legs are active and the left arm is active as it pushes away. On the inhale, soften the arms, legs come up to center. Exhale, legs go to the left. Reach away with your right hand, pressing into the inside of the right foot, so the big toe side of the foot, and then moving with your breath. So these movements that we do a lot of repetition to get the body prepared for the releasing, quite frankly. So we want to open the tissues. We want to get the energy flowing so there's space in the tissues. That's going to allow for just a bigger release, I guess, or a release that's a little bit easier for the body. The body doesn't have to work so hard because we create space in the meridians and in the tissues to allow the energy to flow a little bit freer. So moving from side to side. And also it's good for us to move and get some space. Good. And then come back to center, bending the knees, hugging the knees in towards the shoulders, rocking from side to side. Just releasing and massaging your low back. And then let's circle the knees. I like moving the knees in opposite directions, just getting into the hips. And I've been doing a lot of hiking and walking as I try to get out every day. I actually have been able to do that, except one day last week when it was raining a little bit much. I wanted to walk in and change the direction. And I can feel the tightness on the inner thighs and in the hamstrings. So as you know, my patterns have changed during the the shelter in place. I have to make sure that I am accommodating the shifts in my body to keep that self-care, that awareness. So I'm taking care of everything. And then bring the knees together and let's take both the knees together and make circles. And then notice how this experience might be different. It gets into the pelvis a little bit more, into the back a little bit more, SI joints, lower back, and then change the direction. So you're going the other way. And then let's go ahead and lower the feet onto the floor. Let's keep the knees bent. We're going to make our way into some side opening. So I haven't done this on video yet. We're going to see how it goes today. Let's interlace the hands behind the head. Have the elbows go nice and wide and squeeze the blades a little bit. And as you squeeze the blades, you're going to actively press the feet into the floor just to bring some awareness and some engagement into the tissues in the body. So pressing the elbows into the floor, squeezing the blades, pressing the feet. So tensing the body here a little bit. And then release that effort. Let's look at the left elbow and then slide the left elbow up, coming into this opening on the left side. And then let's stay here with the left elbow elevated so we can breathe into the left side of the body for a couple of breaths. And continue to feel your feet as well. Don't let the feet get light here if that's possible. And then slide back to center. And now we'll move over to the other side. And you're going to turn your head to the right as well. Staying here for a few breaths, opening up the right side, just noticing if this side is different than the other side. It might be. It might not be. And then on your next exhale, come back to center. Inhale, just going from side to side. Like a little fishtail. Like imagine that the upper body is like a fishtail. You're just going from side to side, moving with the breath. This is where a blanket or a towel underneath you can come in handy. And then the next time you come over with the left elbow raised, so left elbow is raised up, press the feet into the floor and lower the legs over to the right. This is going to give us a nice opening in the left side as well as getting into the QL in the low back. On the inhale, everything comes up to center. Exhale, sliding the right elbow up and then lowering the legs over to the left. Inside of the right foot is active. And then just move from side to side. So the elbow slides up and the legs go the opposite direction. Lots of opening potential here. Especially getting into the side body, which I feel like is a little bit compromised for a lot of people as we sit here at home a lot. Those side bodies get really tight and they shrink on us because we are sitting way more than we typically do. And then doing maybe one more to each side. Good. And then the next time you come up to center, let's go ahead and release the arms down by your side and just straighten the legs for a moment, just so we can do a little check-in. Let everything relax. Let's take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And inhale. And exhale. Nicely done. Let's go ahead and bend the knees again. And let's do some isometric movement. So slide the feet together. Take your right hand on the outside of the right knee and then actively press the right hand into the leg as you press the leg into the hand, eventually allowing that right leg to drop out to the side. Take some time doing this, about 15 seconds. So just waking up the legs so they'll tremor for us in a moment. And then place your hand on the inside. You're going to pull the leg back up. And then you're just going to be moving out to the side and then back to center. Now notice that my left leg is not doing much of anything. It's just kind of resting. You can actively press the left foot into the floor. Take your time. And we'll do maybe 2 more on this side. And if you feel a cramping in the hip, you're going to stop. Let's do 1 more. And then let's switch over to the other side. Left hand comes out on the outside of the leg, so actively pressing into the left leg as it releases down, and then pulling as you resist that hand up towards center. So taking your time. And then notice, if there's any distractions around you right now. I think the biggest challenge with the home practice is the distractions. It could be the noises outside. It could be the noises within your house. There could be a lot going on inside of your head. And by being by ourselves, if in fact you are by yourself, it's just easier to get caught up in what's going on in the head. So doing 1 more. See if you can stay present with the practice and present with the movement. So I've noticed that when I teach on restorative, I often leave a lot of space. So on Fridays when I'm teaching, I'm talking a little bit more to help people stay present. And then when the knees come up, let's hug the knees in towards the shoulders. And then you can stay here or make your way into happy baby. So grabbing the outside of the feet, make this a generous happy baby. If you can't grab the feet, you can always grab the calves or grab the backs of the thighs. And then begin to lower the tailbone as it's going to want to make its way up. So a very active happy baby. And then if it's comfortable, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, interlace the hands on the pinky toe side, and then pull the feet in towards you. So allow for a generous sensation on the inner thighs. And again, you can always stay in your knees hugged in towards the shoulders or grabbing the backs of the thighs or the ankles if this isn't available to you. So for some of us, we need to go a little bit deeper to get that activation because we have a little more space in the hips. Good. And then release that. Let's go ahead and lower the feet onto the floor. Put the soles of the feet together. Have the knees go wide. So this is a Supta Baddha Konasana or a butterfly position. And then we'll interlace our hands behind our head. Keep the elbows wide. On the inhale, lift your heart up. On the exhale, flatten your back. Lift the head and shoulders up. Squeeze the elbows and knees together. On the inhale, open the knees, open the elbows, lower the head and shoulders, and lift the heart. Exhaling, coming into your crunch. Inhale, we open. Be mindful not to pull on the neck because the neck is a little bit vulnerable here, and it'll tell you about it later. If you do pull on the neck, it'll let you know. Good. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then let's go ahead and place the bottoms of the feet on the floor. Arms are going to be down by your side. Let's just pause for about 30 seconds. We'll inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and inhale, and exhale, and one more because we can. Inhale, and exhale. So cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh, have the right toes flexed. You could keep the left foot on the floor, or you could hug the left knee in towards the left shoulder. You could take the right elbow as you thread the needle here and then press on the inside of the right thigh to get a little more space in the hamstring. So feet are flexed. It's one of those stretches that can be really hard and challenging and uncomfortable, or really satisfying, or some combination of both of those thoughts. And then extend the left foot up. Maybe we walk the hands up the leg towards the foot, just opening up the hamstring, especially if you've been doing a lot of walking and hiking like I have. There is definitely some space that needs to be created there. The hamstrings are tighter than normal. For many of us, the hamstrings are tight anyway. Nicely done. And then we'll release, lower, and let's change sides. So coming into your figure four, we're going to pull that right knee in. Maybe the left elbow presses on the inside of the left thigh. Feet are flexed. And then extend the right foot up. Perhaps you walk the hands up the leg, opening up the back of the right thigh this time. And for some of you, I know that this is the case with me. I mean, I don't do 2 full practices, but I'm definitely doing a lot more stretching throughout my day and later in the day, just to compensate for the lack of movement or the different types of movement that I'm doing. So you may find yourself taking more than one class, which would be completely understandable if you have the capacity to do that. It'd be a nice gift to yourself. Good. And then lower the feet down. And let's go ahead and have the knees and feet hips distance apart. Bring the arms by your side. And then if you do have that block, now would be the time to take the block and place it between the thighs, just to give us a little more activation in the legs. So if you don't have a block, you could use a ball or a pillow, just something that you can press the legs into. And then palms will be facing down. On the inhale, press your feet into the floor. Lift the hips up, squeeze the glutes at the top. Exhale, you're going to lower back down. Inhale, we lift and squeeze. Exhale, we lower. And let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, we lower. And then inhale, we lift. And exhale, we lower. Now let's take that block and move the block off to the side. Let's just do a little integration while we're still on our back. So walk the feet out to the side edges and just begin to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And then come back to center. And let's hug the knees in one more time too, just because it might help and might help the low back a little bit. And then come back to center, lower the feet back onto your mat, and let's make our way onto our belly. So come all the way onto your belly. And then once you're on your belly, release the tops of the feet and shift the hips from side to side. Lower the forehead down onto the backs of the hands. And then just a way to lengthen the spine a little bit more, extend the arms forward, grip the floor with your fingertips so you can see how my forearms are lifted. Tuck all 10 toes like you're walking your toes towards your nose. If it's comfortable to anchor the pelvis, do so. Lift out through the top of the head and lengthen your spine here. And then release that effort. Let's go ahead and come up and back into a child's pose. So knees are going to go nice and wide. Sit back on your heels and lower your hips down towards your feet. Come all the way down and let your forehead rest on your mat, or stack your hands or your fists so that your forehead is touching something. And then lift the head up. Let's go ahead and walk the fingers long. Grip the mat with your fingertips and pull your hips down towards your feet. So opening up the side body a little bit more. And then walk your hands over to the left side of your mat and press the right hand into the floor. Pull your right hip down towards your right heel. And then release that effort. We'll walk our hands through center, come over to the other side, pressing the left hand into the floor. And then pulling the left hip down towards the left heel. And once again, noticing if one side's different than the other. It often is. And then let's come back to center and make our way onto all fours. So tuck all 10 toes, starting in a tabletop. So toes are tucked. Press the hands, knees, and toes into the floor. And then as you inhale, drop the belly, heart comes forward. On your exhale, you're going to round your spine. Inhaling, drop your belly, and heart comes forward. As you exhale, round. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, drop the belly, heart comes forward. And then exhaling, we round. And then last one. Inhale, drop the belly, heart comes forward. And then on the exhale, we're going to round. And then come back to neutral, neither cat nor cow. And release the tops of the feet onto the mat. Bring your right foot forward between the hands. And then let's come up into a low lunge. So you can interlace your hands and have your hands resting on the thighs. Soften your shoulders. And then just ease forward and back, so we're inviting the hip to open versus coming, fully into the lunge completely. Just giving the body an opportunity to let this hip open a little more gently. We've done a little bit of work on the hips, so hopefully they're a little more open than they were a moment ago. You could bring the hands to the floor, and you can always keep the hands on the thigh if this isn't available to you. Just opening that hip a little bit more, especially on a Monday, depending on what your weekend was like. You might be feeling a little tighter than normal. And then let's back out of that lunge. We're going to bring the right leg behind us. And then let's change sides. Left foot comes forward. We'll interlace our hands, resting on the left thigh, and then easing forward and back. Take your time. Coming forward and back. Softening the shoulders, softening the effort wherever it isn't needed. So notice the face, the hands. And then the next time you come forward, whenever that is for you, we'll rest here. Staying on this side, and you can always have the hands resting on the thighs. Always your choice. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and back off and bring the left leg behind us. And then we'll come to a seat and extend both legs out in front of us. And just point and flex the toes once again. And then as you're ready, hug the right knee in and release the right knee out to the side. Now, sometimes the knees are floating when we do that. So if you find that your knee's up here and you have a block or a blanket or a pillow, then you'll want to support the knee. It'll just be kinder to the knee and probably feel a little more comfortable. Left toes are going to be flexed. Let's start with the left knee a little bit bent. So, and take your left thumb, put it in the left hip crease, and just come forward a little bit so you can feel if the belly, the left side of the belly is resting on your thigh. And if it's not, you're going to bend your knee a little bit more. If you feel like you have a pretty open back, you could straighten the leg a little bit more. And then let's all come up to a seat. Place the heels of the hands on the leg, and we'll inhale. Exhale, keep the left toes flexed as well, and then press the heels of the hand into the meat of the leg as you slide the hands down towards the foot. And then inhale, hands come back up. Exhaling, we come forward. And then inhale, coming back up. And let's come forward this last time. This time we'll stay. So you can grab the leg, you could grab the outside of the foot. Wherever you are hinging at the hip, and the belly, the left side of the belly is on the thigh. It's going to keep things nice and safe for your back. And then it's a little bit of a twist. You're bringing, you're coming across that at a little bit of an angle, so it's a little bit more of a twist than a straight forward fold. And then let's make our way out of this. Take your right hand on the outside of the right knee and pull the right knee up. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale the left arm forward. Hug the right knee. And then turn to your right. Keep the left toes flexed. Coming into a little bit of a twist. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. And then release that. We'll come forward, extend the right leg forward to meet the left. Just a little integration, windshield wiper the legs from side to side. And then let's do the other side. So hugging the left knee in, and then release the left knee out to the side, supporting it with a block if you need it. Right toes are flexed, and we might have a slight bend in the right knee so that we can hinge at the hip on this side as well. We'll take the heels of our hand, place them on the thigh, and we'll inhale together. Exhale, coming forward. On the inhale, we come back out of it. And then on the exhale, we come forward. Do this a couple more times. Inhale. And exhale. And we'll call this one the last one. And then on the exhale, we come forward. We grab what we can. Maybe we grab the outside of the foot. We're coming at a bit of an angle, so it's a little bit of a twist. Nice cross stretch in the back. And nicely done. I know it's nicely done. And then come back up. Let's take the left hand on the outside of the left knee. Pull that left knee up. Inhale the right arm up and forward. Exhale, right hand comes forward and hug the left knee with the right arm. And turn to your left. Flex the right toes. And making sure that you're not twisting too deeply, especially if you've eaten something. And then as you're ready, let's come forward. Let's release the left leg out in front. Hands go behind you. And we'll windshield wiper the feet from side to side. And then from here, let's hug the knees in. Press the feet and the sitting bones into the floor. Lift up through the top of the head. Chin is down slightly. And then as you're ready, let's put the soles of the feet together. Have the knees go wide. If you collapse on the spine, have the fingertips behind you so you can keep the spine nice and tall. Otherwise, you can bring the hands under the shins and just do a little resisting, a little more lengthening. And then some of us might come forward. If you're coming forward, make sure that the spine is fairly straight, especially if you're pulling yourself forward. If you're rounding at all, then you're just going to let the body rest in this rounded state. You're not going to pull yourself because it's super hard on the low back. And then softening the shoulders, taking the effort out wherever it's not needed. And noticing your breath here, making sure that the breath is still occurring. Noticing once again any distractions, seeing if you can stay with the practice. See if you can stay right here. Stay with me. I know it's hard. I've been practicing at home too. I know it's hard. And then release that effort. Hands on the outside of the knees. Let's pull the knees together. And then we're going to come onto our back to move into the tremoring part of the class. So if you have a blanket on your mat, you're going to fold the blanket in half just so you have your feet available on the sticky mat. Otherwise, they might slip if you have them on a blanket. I don't typically think that's a good idea to have the feet resting on a blanket. You do want them on a surface that's got a little bit of stability. And then we'll come onto our backs and we'll have the soles of the feet together. The knees are going to go wide here. Arms are going to be by your side. And let's all inhale together. Exhale through the mouth. And inhale. And exhale. And then one more time, inhale. And exhale. So soles of the feet are together, knees are wide. Let's lift the hips up. And you can see right away my legs are rocking. The pelvis is rocking because my legs are tired because I've been hiking a lot. So my legs are tired anyway. So those of you that have been hiking, you're a little bit out of advantage because the more tired the legs, the easier the tremors are. So this rocking, just to remind everybody, is involuntary. I am not rocking on purpose. The body is moving into what is called a neurogenic tremor. Neurogenic means nervous system. So if you can't keep the hips up, keep the hips up and stay here. For those of you that are struggling with keeping the hips up with the soles of the feet together, lower the hips down and then put the bottoms of the feet on the floor. Have the knees at least hips distance apart and then lift the hips up from here. So it's a bridge variation with the feet a little bit closer. And even here you could see that my body is still ready to move into that tremor. And I know that my body does it pretty easily because I've been doing this for a long time. Many, many years, a decade actually, close to a decade. So either feet on the floor, as you see here with the hips lifted, or soles of the feet are together and the hips are lifting up. Now we're going to be here for a couple more minutes, not actually, maybe another minute, not 2 more minutes, not too long. So staying here if you need to. If you need to lower down just because it's hard, then just lower down. And take a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, you're going to lift the hips back up. So about 30 more seconds. Keep the hips up if you can. Just going to check and see if there are any questions that I need to address. Good. And then as you're ready, go ahead and lower the hips down wherever you are. If the soles of the feet are together, have your knees go nice and wide. And those of you that have the bottoms of the feet on the floor, I'll tell you what to do in a moment. So let's all have the arms by your side in a neutral place, if that's comfortable. If you're able to not have the hands on the belly or in some type of activated state, it's best. That way, if the energy moves, it has more access to those areas if they're neutral. Let's inhale together. And exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. And 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. So from here, we'll close the legs a little bit, just a couple of inches maybe or so. And you might feel the legs starting to shake already. Some of you might feel a burning or a strong sensation on the inside of the thighs. That's both muscular energy from holding the legs in place, and it's also transitioning into that neurogenic tremor. So those of you that can keep the soles of the feet together, and you're going to keep the knees about right here, you're going to stay here. For those of you that can't, put the bottoms of the feet back on the floor, and instead of bringing the knees together, you're going to bring the knees out to the side. So you're going to go out instead of in. And this can work quite well. It might take a little bit longer for the tremors to happen. Mine are starting already. My feet actually like to be on the bottom of the floor. And you may find over time that that's better because it becomes almost a resting place. And then move the knees together a little bit more. And if you've been practicing a while, you kind of know what to do. We just hang out here. The body's moving into this very dynamic, energetic discharge, which is why we wanted the tissues in the body to be stretched and open so the energy can flow a little freer. And then we're going to take some breath. Inhale and exhale. So we like taking those cleansing breaths. The breathing helps the energy flowing. It also helps keep us grounded. Both are important. Close the knees a little bit more. And then you still can keep the soles of the feet together. If you had your feet on the floor, you're just going to continue to open the legs a little bit more. But those of you that have the soles of the feet together, you might at some point transition the bottoms of the feet to the floor. And then it becomes more of a resting practice because the tremors will come a little more freer because we're not engaging the muscles. And when the muscles are a little bit looser, the energy will flow a little bit freer. So it does take some muscular energy to hold the legs in place with the soles of the feet together. But for most of us, that's where we're going to be. So always your choice. Now, if you wanted to come out of the tremors because you've had enough of this experience or you just need a break, you'll just straighten the legs. And then you'll just hang out here. And you still might feel the energy flowing, this dynamic, maybe a little bit of tremoring or vibration or pulsation. You might still feel some sensation. And when you're ready, you'll come back to where you left off and the tremors will kick in. Now, if the tremors stop, then you go back to the soles of the feet together and that'll help re-engage them. And in some instances, if I could see you, I would, that's going to be the nice thing about Zoom is that I'll be able to see what you guys are doing and be able to offer some advice from afar, like lift your hips up again. So in some cases, I might have people relift their hips. So when we move to Zoom, it's important if you want my assistance that you have the camera on you so I can see what's going on. And let's inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. So satisfying. Nice cleansing breath. You can take as many of those as you like. You can add a sound. Sound is super useful. You can try sound. Inhale. And then a ha sound. Ha. Any vibration that you can add will assist in the release. The ha sound's a nice one. That's a pretty good one to go to. That can be a good go-to. And we'll be here for a couple more minutes, just so you know. So if you want to stay here, you can. If you want to take a break, you're going to straighten your legs. And at this point, I'm going to transition out of the tremor so I can just be present with you and guide you through the remainder of the practice. So you guys can stay in your tremoring. You could take a break if you need to. And let's inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. And then you can play with the legs a little bit more, opening and closing until you find a place. Sometimes people feel a little more satisfaction if they get to a place where there's a lot of tremoring. There's not a lot of proof that is really doing anything more. If there's more tremoring, your body's just presenting in the modality how it presents. So maybe one more minute here. And again, if you're done, you can always come out of the tremoring. You can move into your Shavasana or side lying position, something that's going to allow your body to rest and allow the nervous system to settle down. So this is one practice where I really encourage you to stay to rest. Having a 4 to 5 minutes rest just allows the system, the organism to settle down, which is important. We don't want to have the nervous system a little bit, aroused and then running off to the next thing. So just taking a few extra minutes is really, helps really support this practice quite a bit, in my opinion. And then as you're ready, you can make your way out of the practice. So you're going to straighten your legs and you're going to point and flex the toes. So just pointing and flexing the toes and circling the feet. You can circle the hands, just moving in any way that's dynamic. And that's going to allow you to have the tremors to stop. It's going to help the tremors stop by moving dynamically. Moving dynamically is how we stop the tremors. And then once you feel like the tremors have subsided, you can roll onto your side, or you can move into just a traditional Shavasana. So always your choice. And then set up and make your way there and hang out there for a little bit, using anything you need to support you. So if you have a bolster or blankets, do what you need to do. And then just observing here as the body moves into this transition, just noticing this is a nice time to check in with your nervous system to see how the nervous system is behaving. We can often find a sense of relief or just a different level of awareness because they're, with the energy flowing so dynamically through the body, it's an opportunity to just check in and see how you're feeling. Super useful because sometimes the nervous system is difficult to access. We don't really know, what does it feel like unless it's an extreme in an extreme state. We don't know what we're looking for. What are we trying to discover? What are we noticing? And then just checking in with the breath and checking in with the heart. Just noticing how the breath is behaving. Again, you might be taking one of those nice organic inhales, or you can take a cleansing breath if you'd like to. And then staying with me for just a couple minutes more if you can. If you're able to stay. You owe it to yourself. You deserve to stay and finish the practice. And your body will appreciate it too. Easier said than done, I know, if you have a house full of distractions and other people and kids and pets, and so do the best you can. And then just noticing what arises. And then as you're ready, let's begin to transition out of our Shavasana. So let's begin to bring your awareness back to the breath. And if you're on your back, you can extend the legs long, arms long, give yourself a stretch if you feel like that would be supportive of you. And then bending the knees one at a time, hug the knees in towards your shoulders, give yourself a hug. And then raise your one arm above your head, roll onto your side, meeting the others who may be on their side. And then just doing a final check-in with the breath and the heart. And then whenever you're ready, take your time and make your way up to a seat. As you're ready, take your time. Let's bring our arms out to the side with the palms facing up. As you inhale, bring your arms out and up. Palms touch above your head. Exhaling, we lower the hands in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra, the mudra of gratitude. And let's close our practice today with one round of Om. So if you'd like to join me, you can. Otherwise, feel free to listen. Let's all exhale together. And inhale. And we'll bow down towards our heart with gratitude for the practice, with gratitude for our bodies and all the things we get to do in these bodies. May any merits gained from our practice today benefit ourselves and all beings everywhere, especially those affected by COVID-19. Thank you so much for showing up today and practicing with me. It's so great to practice with all of you. I'll be here Wednesday via Zoom. You'll get the link if you sign up through Breathe Together Yoga. So we'll practice at 10:30 on Wednesday, yoga and neurogenic tremoring, and then Friday, restorative. And then Sunday, I'm actually teaching a gentle class, which I haven't taught in a very long time, at noon. And then polyvagal theory immediately following. It could be an all afternoon with me on Sunday, if you're so inclined. So thank you all so much. It's just so great to be in community with you. And thanks again for showing up. And I look forward to practicing with you again very soon. Namaste. Bye-bye.